Okay. Come on, let's say it again. Wake up and win, wake up and win, wake up and win. Listen, I am your girl, Dr. Najuma. Thank you for being tuned into the Wake Up and Win show for your morning win word. It's a Freedom Friday, and I'm super excited to be on live with you all this morning. Listen, y'all know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, like, share, and subscribe. Listen, our daily win word today is, I just went blank. Our win word for today. I'm having a rough time this morning. Okay, no, seriously, seriously. Our daily win word for today is free your mind of mental obstacles. Free your mind of mental obstacles. Listen, it's Freedom Friday. So on Fridays, I always try to do a word or message about getting free some way, somehow, in some aspect of your life. And I want to encourage you to get free from the mental, to get free from the mental obstacles in your life or in your mind, right? So an obstacle is something that gets in the way, that hinders, that you have to either go around, go under, go through, some form of acrobatics required to get over, around, through an obstacle. And a lot of times what we are doing in life is we're constantly trying to go around, go over, go under, go through an obstacle. This morning, I want to encourage you to get free from certain obstacles, right? Now, there are some things that you may not be able to get rid of. You may not be able to get free from. But as opposed to doing the acrobatics, the mental acrobatics every day, every morning, to do the things that you've been called to do, be, have, and or possess. I want to encourage you on this day, not just to go over the obstacle, around it or under it, but I want to invite you this morning to actually check this out, remove the obstacle. And I want to take you through a couple of steps. We may not get through them all this morning, but that's fine. But I want to encourage you that whatever the mental obstacle is, so first, to overcome a mental obstacle, you have to do a few things. Number one, you have to acknowledge that there may be a mental obstacle blocking you from performing, blocking you from improving, blocking you from progressing, trying to block you from doing the things that you know you've been called to do, be, have, and or possess, right? So for me, example, the mental obstacle could have been fear, right? Fear of not having everything together, fear of things not being perfect. And that mental obstacle, right? Because the fear is not necessarily real, right? I could still do it without all the bells and whistles and over time improve. And this is what we've been talking about since the beginning of the show, is that we are improving as we go along. Every day there's an improvement, right? Y'all see how the lighting got better? And so, with that being said, um, uh, you have to acknowledge that there is a mental obstacle. So, the first question I want you to ask yourself is, what is the mental obstacle? Is it fear? Is it unworthiness? We talked about unworthiness yesterday. Is there something else? What is the mental obstacle? And once you've identified a mental obstacle, because you may not be able to identify all of them, the second thing you want to do is you want to figure out where that come from. What's the root of that mental obstacle? I mean, really, where did it come from? Was it childhood trauma? Was it something somebody said? Was it something that you experienced? Where did it come from? Because stuff comes from places. Everything has a root. Everything has a birthing place, a root, a beginning. So once you identify the mental obstacle, the thing that keeps coming up for you mentally, the second thing to do is you want to identify the root of that. Now, listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of this work you need to do with a therapist. And again, I am all for a therapist and a therapy session. So get with somebody if you need to. Don't be ashamed. Don't be afraid. Don't not do it if you know that you need to or if you sense that you need to, right? But some of this work you can do on your own, in your own time, in your own space. or maybe with an accountability partner, or you can work with someone like me, a coach, because y'all know I'm a coach. I keep telling y'all that. Got clients and all of that, right? Uh, so that's a side note. Then once you figure out the root of the mental obstacle, right? Then you want to understand how it's impacting you. Like you want to look at it from all angles. I was part of a project, a community project, and we had to do an art-like project as a group, and then we had to look at all angles and all sides of it and really interpret and understand what the project was, what the art piece was, and explain it. I want to invite you, once you identify the obstacle, once you identify the root of the mental obstacle, then I want you to really examine it, right? And examine how it's impacting you. Examine when it shows up. Examine what are the triggers, if there are any triggers. Like take a look at that thing, really look at it. Don't rush through this process, right? And I'm not sharing anything that I've not actually had to do for myself, right? I had to ask myself at one time, what are you really afraid of? Okay, we know fear. What are you really afraid of? And then why are you afraid, right? So examine that thing, look at it. And then, because in looking and examining it, you also get to see how it's impacting you, how it's slowing you up, how it's stopping you, how it's causing delays, procrastination. We've been talking about all these things this week. And then, so all of this ties into what we've been talking about all week. And then once you do that, then begins the work of removing it, like really getting rid of it. Now, that is done through, just really taking time to rewrite the story in your head, really rewriting how you are, you know, contending with an obstacle, right? So the obstacle no longer becomes a block. The obstacle, no, and you may even write down things like, I am no longer hindered by X, right? And you have to really sometimes write these things out, um, and begin to tell yourself a different story. So, for example, if it's fear, what are you really afraid of? Why are you afraid of it? And then that final step is me saying, I am no longer afraid of what people are going to think. I am no longer going to allow the fear of what people are thinking to hinder me from going live every day. I am no longer going to allow the fear of what people think to hinder me from showing up as my best self. So you begin to rewrite mentally, but I would encourage you to write it down in a book or journal. And listen, those who know me know I keep a journal, I keep a book. I'm always writing stuff down, right? And so you want to do that and rewrite the story. And part of that is releasing it, right? I release this mental block, I release this mental hindrance, and rewrite the story and literally rewrite it. Write it on a piece of paper. Read it to yourself, say it to you, speak it over yourself. And then when you rewrite it, you want to rewrite, right? You want to rewrite with the new story. I'm no longer being hindered by the fear of what people think. I am going to, I will, I am. So you have to rewrite the old story with the new story. And the new story is I will show up as my best self. I am going to go live every day. I am going to buy a home. I will make steps every day of my life towards my dream, right? You have to begin to rewrite the story, and you have to say that and speak that over yourself as often as you can. I'm going to stop there for this morning because I've already given you a lot. I've given you the first 4 steps. Number 1, acknowledge and identify that there is a mental block. Number 2, figure out, examine what the root cause is. Did it come from a person? Did it come from a conversation? Did it come from a trauma? What's the trigger, right? What is it? Then you're going to, once you identify the root, you're going to examine that thing, right? How is it impacting you? What's the outcome? What's the trigger? You're going to look at all sides. You're going to do a 360 review around that thing. Investigate, ask some questions. What are the triggers? Why do you keep coming up? Okay. That's step number 3. And then step number 4, as we said, is you're going to rewrite the story. So again, if your mental block is fear, you're going to rewrite the story. I am no longer afraid of what people think of me. And then you're going to rewrite the story with your new story, which is, therefore, I'm going to show up as my best self. I am going to do this, that, and the other. I will make this kind of progress. You're going to get out your journals and you're going to write. Now, I know we live in the world of AI and everything is technology, but listen, the brain still functions and remembers and records at a more optimum level, if you will, when we write things out and speak them. Write them out and speak them. And so you're going to do that until you have removed the mental block. Now, this may take time. You may have to do it a few more times. You may have to do it, repeatedly, but that doesn't matter because that's so important that it's worth dedicating the time to do it. So don't think this is a rush project or a rush process. Take your time, go through all 4 steps. And listen, it's Friday. So on Fridays, what do? We get free, we live free, and we stay free. And the way that we do that is by going through this kind of process as it relates to mental blocks. Every Friday, we're going to talk about how do we get free, different ways to get free, things we can get free from. So today, it's getting free from the mental blocks, the mental obstacles. What are they? Where they come from? What's the impact on your life? And how do you begin to rewrite that story to a more positive, productive, profitable, proficient, purposeful story? How do we begin to do that? All right. So listen, y'all, thank you for being tuned in to the Wake Up and Win Show and your daily win word. I'm your girl, Dr. Najuma. And listen, y'all know I am a coach and a speaker. So if you click on in the description below in my Linktree bio, you'll see all the tabs there. Also, don't forget to hit the tab for the Win Experience coming up May 28th, the Win Experience coming up on May 28th. Okay, so tap in, and y'all know what we say every day. Let's get up, let's get out there, and let's go in. Thank you for being tuned in. I'm your girl, Dr. Najuma. Have an amazing Friday. We'll see you all on Monday morning, 5:30 a.m. Set your alarms and join us. We out, y'all. Peace.